Hey guys, welcome back once again. So in this today's session, we are going to see about the TCP/IP model. If you want to understand the TCP/IP model, first you should have the idea of the clear-cut idea of the OSI model, right? If you know OSI model, then please try to watch this video. If you don't know OSI model, then go back to the OSI model, then watch that video, then come back to here so that only you will be understanding the TCP/IP model, right? So first we'll see that how many layers are there in the TCP/IP model, right? So next we'll see, right? So first we'll try to understand, so right, the OSI model is the reference or logical model, right? So and OSI model is first developed, then the protocol. So what is the meaning of this one is, right? So protocol is nothing but the TCP/IP model, right? But OSI is only a reference model. So what is the meaning of reference model means, just here this is not the practical or actual implementation, right? But actual implementation will be TCP only. So I'll add, if you observe here, so I'm opening the Wireshark. So it is the network analyzer tool. So we can monitor entire thing what is happening in the inside of the networking communication. So let me open this one. Now see that it is finding all the interfaces. So I have Wi-Fi connections. So I'm just click on this one so that I can able to see that. Now if you observe here, so we have the 1 2 3 4. So this is something nothing but the TCP IP model, right? So transmission control, internet protocol. So here if you observe here, we don't have the 7-layer architecture. So protocol that is practically implement is the TCP IP, not the OSI. OSI is only what? Reference model, right? So if we see inside of this one, you can find the all the internet protocols as well as the TCP IP. What is the port number of the source mission, destination port number, everything we can see. The checksum status, what is the checksum we are using. So everything we can see. TCP is the protocol, then the reference model, right? Now you understand, right? So in which year it is TCP IP was developed, right? So see that it was developed by the 1960, but when the OSI model is developed, it was developed by the 1984, right? So then one more thing, so still people are using the, for reference purpose, they are using the OSI model. If something, if you have the problem, they used to call which layer you have the error, like L1, L2, L3, L4, L5, L6, L7, right? But practical implementation is the TCP, not the OSI model. It is only reference model. That point you have to remember. Now we see that how many layers in the OSI model as well as the TCP, right? So in OSI model, where the data is being prepared at the application presentation session layer, right? So they made it as the single layer, right? So transport layer as it is, network layer they called as the internet model. In case of 4-layer TCP/IP model, in case of 5-layer TCP/IP model, they are calling as the network layer only. So data link layer, physical layer will combine into the link layer. So here in the 5-layer model, data link layer, physical layer separated. So why they mention is the TCP/IP protocol means the major operation will be performed by the transport layer as well as the network layer. So network layer which work based on what? IP address mechanism. Here we have the TCP UDP protocol, right? The main important to be is given to the connection oriented TCP protocol. So that's why they have given name as the TCP/IP protocol. So this is the 4-layer architecture. This is the 5-layer architecture. Different based on the industries. Some people they are following the 4-layer model, some people they are following the 5-layer model. Now what we have to do in exam point of view means, what is the protocol which is available in the application layer, transport layer, internet layer, that we need to explain, right? So without wasting the time, so let me show you what is the protocol of each and every layer, right? So this is what we called as the in TCP/IP model presentation layer, right? The combination of these 3 layers. Next layer is the transport layer, network layer, so data link layer, physical layer. If you combine these two one, then it is called as the link layer. So which is with this one, this is the 5-layer architecture. Now what is the protocol we have? Application layer. What is the example for this protocol? So if you want to establish the, first we will start from the remote connection. So if you want to make the remote connection, we have the 2 protocols. One is called as the terminal network, another one is the secure shell protocol, right? So after some time I will explain all these things in practical manner. Next, what is the protocol we have? Domain name system. What is the use of domain name system means, which is used to convert your IP address to the naming convention. What is the meaning of this one? Suppose if you want to access some content, you will type google.com, right? You will never type the IP address, right? So then who will convert this one in terms of the IP address? This guy will convert in terms of the IP address. If you want to send the file, then what is the protocol? We need to use the FTP. If you want to send the secure file, means we are using the trivial file transfer protocol, right? So like that we have something protocol DHCP, dynamic host configuration, which is used to assign the automatic dynamic host configuration protocol. So next layer is the transport layer. We have the connection oriented, means we are using the transmission control protocol. Connectionless means we are using the user datagram protocol, right? So next one is the ICMP, IP, ARP, RARP, right? Meanwhile we will see the practical representation, right? So first let me give the overall abstraction. So later on we will perform the real-time operation by using of the Cisco packet router. So what is the application? We have HTTP, HTTPS. For example, if you want to communicate from one web browser to the another web browser, suppose that source web browser, then client web browser and server web browser. So let it be it is operating with the Firefox, it is going to use the Google Chrome, right? But if you want to get the information from here to here, the both parties has to agreement the common protocol. That protocol we called as the either HTTP or HTTPS, right? HTTP means normal protocol, HTTPS means secure protocol, right? So what is the use of DNS protocol? Domain name system. An IP address is used to identify the connection of the host. It means that if you want to communicate one PC to the another PC, we required unique address mechanism is nothing but the IP address. But instead of typing the IP address, we are typing something google.com, right? So it means that somehow it will be converted in terms of the IP address into the naming convention that can be converted by the domain name system, right? So if you want to establish the remote connection, one is the telnet, another one is the secure shell is there. Then to transfer the file, FTP is there, TFTP is there. This is the network management protocol, right? So if you want to exchange the information from one mail server to the another mail server, the different mail server, let it be something if you want to communicate with the, right, your Gmail servers to the Yahoo mail server, they both party has to agree the protocol called as the simple mail transfer protocol, right? So these are the protocol will come under the application layer. So in the exam point of view, we have to write any 4 or 5 protocols. One of the application layer protocol is the DHCP. So what is the meaning of DHCP? Is it is dynamic host configuration protocol, right? So DHCP means it is a dynamic host configuration protocol. So what is the use of this DHCP protocol is that, suppose for example you consider this network, right? So under this switch how many devices we have? 2 devices. It means that for each device, if you want to communicate with the one to another, now what is required? So we require something called as the IP address mechanism, right? So now see that the moment if I click on this switch 1, as we seen in the practicals, so now I need to enter the manual IP address, right? We need to enter the manual IP address. Here also we need to enter the manual IP address. The one point to be remember here is that IP address is unique, right? So what is the meaning of unique? If once the IP address is used here, we cannot able to use in the any other device in the network. So see that in 2 systems I can able to enter the IP address using manual operation. But you consider the network where you will be having the 1000 devices. Now is it possible practically to go inside of every system and type the manual IP address and remembering the huge unique IP address? It is not almost possible, right? When you are working for the industry, entering the manual address is not the useful way. Now what we have to do is, the moment when system is reboot, automatically it should get the IP address, right? So manual is something where network admin is going to enter each and every system, right? So one more is automatic. That automatic can be assigned by whom? Automatic IP address that can be assigned by DHCP protocol, right? So we'll see practically how to implement the DHCP protocol. So it is the protocol works on the application layer. So in TCP IP model, right, so we have the application layer, right? So one of the protocol is the DHCP. We'll see practically, later on we'll study the theory part. So to explain this one, I have considered this network scenario. If you want to get the automatic IP address, first what we required is that we required something called as the server. Inside of the server there will be multiple IP addresses available. So whichever the free IP address, that will be assigned to the this mission. So first what the thing we have to do is, first we need to create something called as the IP address pool, right? So first we need to create the IP address pool. What is the meaning of pool? Means it consists of the group of IP address, right? So whenever these systems are want to get the IP address, it will send the request to the server, so that whatever the IP address will be available in the server, that will be automatically assigned to the end devices or system, right? So first thing is that we need to create the server. So in that server we need to provide some range of the IP address. Whenever request come, so whatever the IP available IP address, from that IP address we need to assign to the particular end devices. Now first what we will do is, we will try to create the server, right? So this is the server, right? So if you go here, services, so which one is required? Dynamic host configuration, right? So just by default it will be off state. I'm making it as the on state. Now if you want to give the pool name, you can give it, that is your, so how many pools you want, you can able to create. Suppose for example I'm giving something, starting IP address is 192.168. something 1.10, right? Now how many subnet mask is we need to give. Later on we will understand what is the meaning of all these things. At this point of time it is not required. If you know classifications of the IP address, then it is nothing, right? So it means that the starting IP address should be assigned is 1.10. now something I'm giving some value 250 address, whatever it may be, that is your wish. So just I'm going to save this one. So it means that we have the one pool, right? So where what is the starting IP address, it will give from 1.10. this is the subnet works, maximum user can access is the 246. It means that we have enabled the server, we have created the group. So in that group we have these many IP addresses, right? So along with this, to identify the server, what we required something called as the IP address, right? So for that I am giving some IP address 192.168.1.1 something, right? So now after completion of this one, the moment if I click on this one, go to IP configuration, by default it is static mode, right? So if I click on DHCP, first it is requesting for the DHCP. Once it is done, what is happening? DHCP request is successful. See that without human intervention, directly we are getting the IP address. This is the use case of the dynamic host configuration protocol, one of the application of the application layer. So the next protocol is application layer protocol of TCP/IP is this one. So what is the protocol? Domain name services or domain name system. So what is the use of this one? Suppose for example if you want to browse some website, so what we used to type is web address something, we used to type protocol. If you don't enter protocol also, we used to type something called as the google.com or cisco.com, whatever it may, right? So but as I told that if you want to communicate from one system to another system, what we require something called as the IP address, right? It means that if you are communicating from one system to the another system, which requires only IP address, but instead of entering the IP address, we used to enter something called as the google.com. Now see that why we are not entering the IP address, because the system will understand only IP address, not your some naming convention. But as per the people, they cannot able to remember the 4 billion IP address, right? So 4 billion IP address they cannot able to remember, right? So now what they have done is that somehow they have translated IP address to the something naming convention, right? So it means that as people, as a human being, we don't remember IP address. So whatever it may be that, so that IP address will be converted in terms of the naming convention. That process can be done by something called as the domain name system. But what domain name system will do is it will convert the IP to the naming convention as well as the naming convention to the IP address. The moment if you are typing this google.com, so automatically it will convert in terms of the IP address. It will send the information to the server. So from that, whatever the application we have, that we can get it back. So this application can be used to convert the IP address to the naming mechanism to the IP address, right? So for explaining this use case, I have considered this one. So here this is my server, right? So first I am going to give the IP address. The server IP address is something 1.1 I have given. So what is the service we require? HTTP protocol, right, for a web application. So this is one, right? So I have made it at the HTTP is on. Now see that this is the index.html file, right? It is nothing but my server. I have kept some file. So whoever comes from their source machine to the my server, nothing but this IP address, they can access this page. So what is that page? Index.html. If you see that what here we have the content, we have the HTML code. Hi, this is Praveen Reddy, right? So you can read these contents. We'll see that. So here one point you have to understand is that, so what is the server IP address? 192.168.1.1. So which protocol we are using? HTTP. Now see that the moment if I am going to your PC 0, so we have the web browser, right? Like normal our system, whatever the web browser we have, the same thing here we have. Now we'll see. Now see that actually we used to type something called as the google.com, right? So then only we will be getting the what is the index file which is stored in the server, right? So this is not the actual procedure. Now what I am going to do is 192.168.1.1 is my server IP address, right? So this is my server IP address. From here I am sending the request to get the information whichever is stored inside of the server. If I click on go, now see that what is happening, that this is the HTML page content, right? Hi, this is Praveen Reddy, something we have, right? So this is display. Now see that in real time we don't use this one, right? We use something that called as the HTTP protocol, google.com something, right? But that is not the actual procedure. We need to remember the IP address. It is not possible for human beings to remember the all 4 billion IP address. Now there we have the concept called as the domain name system. So instead of entering the IP address, we can enter the naming. So inside of this one, the domain naming system will take care of the conversion process. We'll see practically, right? So again I'm going to the system, right? Server. So which service we required now? Under services we required domain name system, right? So just you make it as the on. Now something I'm giving something www.cisco.com, right? So www.cisco.com, it means that what is the server IP address? 192.168.1.1. whoever comes to access my web server IP address or some file, they need to enter my server address. What is that server address? This one, 1.1, right? So next time onwards, if I create the domain name system, so if they don't need to enter 1.1, instead of that they can use the naming convention. What is that? www.cisco.com. it means that DNS system will internally convert your naming convention into the IP address. So one device to the another device, it won't get any problem, right? So this is how we can perform the domain name system translation. Now see that I have when instead of typing the 192.168.1.1, I have given the naming convention. So internally DNS is converting that naming mechanism in terms of the IP address. So see that here also we are getting the same web page, right? So this is the application of the domain name system, one of the application of the application layer of TCP IP model. So on the next TCP IP model application layer protocol is Telnet, one more is the SSH. So first we will see that what is the use of this one. So Telnet, SSH, these two protocols are used to, right? So connect your remote machine, right? So if you want to connect your remote machine, for example, this is where I am in Hyderabad. This is my system which is located at the something Chennai, right? So now I am doing work from home job. So actually I am network admin. So whenever if I am inside of my office, then I can directly access the switch, so that whatever the configuration I want to do, I can perform the configuration. But now I'm in Hyderabad, but still I need to do the configurations on the switch according to my company requirement. So it means that we need to access this corresponding server or switch from your home location, nothing but something you have work from home job, right? Now this what we called as the remote connection establishment. So for remote connection establishment, we have two protocols. One is called the telnet, another one is called as the secure shell. So this will transfer the whatever the information you are typing through this line. So everything will be in terms of the plain text format. It means that if someone hacker comes to your interface, he can read entire thing, right? So this is not the secured protocol. So for that we have the secure shell protocol, right? So for this video, so if you want to perform hacking kind of this scenario, right? So I have already uploaded the videos in my cyber security playlist. So if you are interested, please go watch those things. So I have explained in the real-time manner how hacking can be performed, then how to mitigate that hacking, everything I have explained, right? So as part of this class, I am going to explain how to connect the remote system either using the telnet protocol or SSH protocol. So as a part of this class, we are going to see that how to access the remote system from our client machine or work from home computer using the telnet protocol, right? So for that reason, so to access this, we require the IP address, right? This is not real IP address, this is the virtual IP address, right? The IP address is given is 192.168.1.100. so here I am not going to explain the configurations. If you are interested, go to this playlist, you can understand each and everything. So the IP address given for accessing this machine is the 192.168.1.10. the protocol which I am going to use, the telnet protocol, right? So let me go inside of the practical so that you will understand. Now see that first, for understanding purpose, just I am opening my switch, right? The moment if I open my switch, right, now see that what is the name of this switch? The name of this switch is the switch, right? The name of this switch is switch. For example, if you want to change the switch name, just we have the command ABC, right? Now what is the switch name? ABC. Now where we are doing the configuration? Inside of this switch one, we are doing the configuration. Now what I am going to do is just I am going to minimize this one. So from here I am going to access this particular machine, nothing but, right, remote connection by using of the telnet protocol. If I am clicking on this one, going to command prompt, just let me exit. This is I have done previously, right? So what is the command we need to use? Telnet, right? So what is the destination IP address? That switch IP address 1.100, right? So it is asking for the password, right? Initially it is to ask the password, right? So thus I am going to enter the password. Now see that this is the terminal which is accessed from my PC0, nothing but my personal computer. So one more terminal we have, right? This one, right? This is accessed from the my switch, right? This is accessed from the switch. Now see that what is the name of the switch here? ABC. What is the name of the switch here? ABC. Now see that this is my work from home computer, right? So just I am going to perform some operation, you will understand. Something I am trying to change the host name. Now what is the host name? It is changes to the Praveen Reddy, right? Now see that again I am come back to the switch. Initially it is ABC only, right? Now if I just click enter, see that it is changed, right? It means that we are accessing this system remotely. So we are performing the configuration from here. So that is the use of the telnet, but it is not the secure protocol. If you want to implement secure protocol, we need to use the SSH. So like this, almost all protocol, every application layer protocol we can implement practically. So these are the some of the example for the application layer protocols, right? So next layer is the transport layer. So see that now transport layer, the main duty is to perform when you are sending the information to the transmitter to the receiver. Either you want to establish the connection oriented mechanism or connectionless mechanism, right? So based on your requirement, we have the protocol. One is called as the TCP, another one is called as the UDP, right? So TCP means it is the connection oriented protocol that enables the reliable data transfer between two computers. Why reliable data transfer between two computers means, if you are sender to the receiver machine, first it is going to establish the communication. After establishing the communication only, it is going to send the information from the source to destination. If something there is a wrong at the received information, again it will send back to that, hey, you retransmit the same information one more time, so that you will be getting the reliable operation. Why? Because you have the connection oriented mechanism, right? So first what it will do is it will create the virtual circuit between your sender and receiver, then it will send the information. Suppose if there is error, then you can ask for the retransmission. See that it detects the error and retransmit the damaged information or frame. Therefore it ensures the all the segments must be received and acknowledged before the transmission is considered to be completed and virtual circuit is discarded. Once operation is completed, virtual circuit is removed. So here one point to understand here is that if your data should not be lost, if your data is something important, then you go for the TCP model. If you don't want your data, then if you want to faster sending to receiver mechanism, then you go for the UDP protocol. So what UDP? It is a connectionless protocol, right, for data transfer. Since a session is not created before the data transfer, there is no guarantee of the delivery. So what is the meaning of this one? It means that from sender to the receiver, right, we are not going to establish any connection. right? If the data is received, if the data even not received, then it will not ask for the retransmission, because there is no virtual connection to find out or to send the request for the retransmission of data. It means that it will not do any kind something called as the error control operation or flow control operation. But it will no circuit means no connection means it will send the data in the faster manner. So what is the best example is, suppose if you are watching IPL match or whatever it may be. So in some period of the time you will be getting something called as the buffering, right? The video will be buffer, right? So after buffer period is completed, you will not get that video again back. You will be getting the next portion, not the previous portion or last portion. It means that this part is not important for me, right? In that case we are using for the UDP protocol. If something you are sending the mail from the one front to the another front, you send hi, tomorrow holiday, something you typed, right? If it is going only hi, then there is no meaning, right? So entire information should be transmitted, right? So in that case we are going for the TCP protocol, right? Now what is the internet layer protocol? So one is ARP, RARP, IP, ICMP. We will see in the practically by using of the Cisco Packet Tracer simulator. Consider the network layer. So we have the one is called as the IP, internet protocol, and second one is the address resolution protocol, then reverse ARP. One more is internet control message protocol, ICMP, internet group, then IGMP. We have these different type of the protocols we are using under the network layer. So when we are going to explain the TCP IP model, we have this 5-layer architecture. So we need to explain the each and every protocol of the particular layer. So for understanding this network layer, we will try to implement the practical scenario by using of the Cisco Packet Tracer simulator, so that you will be understanding the concept easily when you are performing the practical solutions. So first we will see the IP or internet protocol. So what is the use of internet protocol is, it is used to deliver the packet from the source machine to the destination machine based on the unique address mechanism. That unique address mechanism we called as the IP address in the layer 3 devices, right? It means if you want to communicate from one source machine to the destination machine, we require some unique identification that can be provided by the network layer by using something called as the internet protocol address, right? So first we will consider the, for demonstrating this purpose, I am going to consider the Cisco Packet Tracer simulator. Now the moment if I want to communicate from, let it be PC0 to the PC1, right? So let me go to simulation mode. Just here I'm going to consider the protocol data unit. I have explained in the previous classes of OHI model what is the meaning of PDU. Just I'm going to consider. So let it be, this is my source machine, this is my destination machine. Now if you see that what it is telling is PC1 has no functional port. What do you mean by this one is, even though if you are trying to place the packet, we cannot able to place the packet. The reason is that right, so if I'm clicking on this one, you will understand. So under this PC, we require something called as the unique identification mechanism, right? That is what we called as the IP address, right? Now if I click on this one, I don't have any IPv4 address or IPv6 address. That is the reason it is showing that there is no functional port, right? So from this point you need to understand is that IP used to deliver the packet from the one source to the destination based on the IP address mechanism. Now what we have to do is, we need to assign the IP address, right? So let it be the IP address is something 1.1, right? So later on we will discuss all these things. At this point of time, just we will see what is the use of the IP address, one of the internet layer protocol. Now again I'm going to give this one as the one more IP address. So desktop IP configuration, then unique address, right? The moment if you are giving something 1.1 which is already used in the network, now see what is happening. See, this address is already used in the network, so we can't able to use because we need to assign the unique address mechanism, right? So now what I'm going to do is, I'm going to give IP address something called as the 1.2. Now see that it is accepted, right? 1.2 is accepted, right? Now see that the moment if you are trying to communicate from the this PC0 to PC1, now see that what will be happen. So this is my source, this is my destination. Now see that the packet is placed, right? Why the packet is placed here? So this is also identify unique address mechanism. This is also identified using of the unique address mechanism. So this is the use case of the internet protocol, right? So once it is completed, next we will see about the right, so ARP protocol. So what is the meaning of address resolution protocol means? See, if you see here, the address resolution protocol is a communication protocol used to find out the MAC address or physical address of the device from its IP address. Now what is the meaning of this one is, suppose if you know IP address value, it means that if you know IP address value, so if you observe here, what is the address we have given here at this here, what is the address we have given here? We have given something called as the IP address here, right? So for this mission we have given the IP address. Here also it is operating with what? IP address only. Now if you understand here we have the switch, right? But switch works based on only MAC address or physical address. It means that it can able to understand only by using of the MAC address or physical address. It does not know anything about the IP address of the mission 1 as well as the mission 2. It means that if you want to communicate from PC0 to PC1, we need to go via switch, then only we can reach to the our destination. The moment if you are giving the source IP address, the destination IP address, it will go to the switch, where switch does not work based on the IP address mechanism. Why means, suppose for example, if I click on this switch, if I go on CLI, right, so if I type some command, you will understand, show MAC address table, right? So it means that it can able to understand the what is the MAC address of the particular mission. We have the two identification address, guys. One is called as the MAC address. For each device it will be having its own MAC address as well as the IP address, but switch will work based on only MAC address mechanism. Suppose if I type something command, show IP address table, something if I type, there is no command. The reason is that we don't have any mechanism to work the corresponding switch by using of the IP address mechanism. Now if you want to communicate from here to here, we are using the IP address. This also will be having the MAC address, but here the switch understand only the MAC address. Now IP address somehow we need to convert in terms of the MAC address. It means that if you are going with this IP address, someone has to tell that the IP address of this device having the MAC address, that MAC address I am giving to you. So what is the meaning of this one is, if you know IP address, right? So if you know IP address, by using this ARP protocol, you can able to find out the what is the MAC address of that particular device, right? So what is the use of ARP protocol, which is used to find out the MAC address of the particular device from the IP address of the device, right? Why it is required? Switch will understand only MAC address mechanism, right? Now for examples, I am going to consider the packet, let it be my source mission, let it be my destination mission. Why it is doing something like this? Because we did not assign the IP address to this one. So I am giving IP addresses. Right guys, so here I have considered this is my source mission, this is my destination mission. So if you observe here, from the source to destination, at the point of the source we have the 1, right? So if you see that, the moment if I place cursor on here, one is called as the ICMP protocol, another one is called as the ARP protocol. So what is the IP address of this mission? 192.168.1.3 source mission, 1.4 is the destination mission. Now first thing is that if you are communicating using IP address, it will go to the switch, right? So now what switch has to understand is, it works based on only MAC address. It means that by using this one, see that this green color packet is the ARP protocol, right? So by using this ARP protocol, first switch will understand the MAC address of the device, so that it can send the packet to the destination. See that what is happening. First which packet will go, this one or this one? See, this is the ARP protocol, right? This is ARP protocol. Now see that which is going, first is the protocol is going, ARP protocol is going. Once ARP protocol is going, it able to learn the MAC address of this device, right? But it don't know where the destination device is located, so that it is sending the broadcasting. So this will reject the packet. This is the destination, right? It will accept the packet, so that it is returned back to here one. Now see that which one is completed. RP is completed as well as the ICMP also completed. Now see that, for example, if you don't understand, right? So let me take same packet one more time. Now see that what is happening here. Here which is ARP protocol or ICMP protocol? We don't have ARP protocol, right? Why we don't have the ARP protocol means, at the first time, if you don't know what is the MAC address of this device, then only it will send to the ARP protocol. So earlier what we have done, earlier time we don't know what is the MAC address of this device to the switch, right? So at that time ARP protocol was there. Now if you see that, the moment if I place the cursor, you can see that here the last we have something called as the MAC address DA560A1C, something is there, right, at last. But for example, if I click on this one CLI, if I ask you show me the MAC address of the table, right? So if I something type this, show MAC address of the table, now see that it learns the what is the MAC address, DA56, right? This is the DA56, right? So it means that whenever the next time if you are sending the packet from here to here, we don't have the ARP protocol, right? Next, what is the ICMP protocol? We will see that. Suppose if you are sending the message, internet control message protocol, from the source to the destination, there is no guarantee that there will be packet will be delivered to the destination or not. Then how to find out whether the packet is delivered to the destination or not? The only way is that after sending the packet, after receiving the packet to the destination has to send the acknowledgement back that the packet whichever you sent to me is received. For that purpose, we use the ICMP protocol, right? Suppose for example, if I click here, so which protocol is going? ICMP. So message is being sent through the switch. Once it is done, now see that again we are getting the reply back, so that ICMP protocol will work, right? So this is the practical understanding of the internet protocol, right? So we have seen ARP. So what is the use of reverse ARP means? In some cases we might be knowing what only MAC addresses, but it want to converted in terms of the IP address. Then in this case we are using the reverse address resolution protocol. Later on we will see what is the use of internet group message protocol, or what this we will see on the later. So this is the practical understanding of the what is the use of IP, ARP, RARP, ICMP protocol. I hope you understand. Thank you guys.